So next up, we're going to hear from Tarig Hilal. And I met Tarig's co-founder of Akord AI over in Boston, and we got on very well. And I told him we were doing this summit, and he said, you must meet Tarig, you must hear our vision. And since then, we've met a few times, and I've just been blown away, I think, with Tarig's projects, both in finance, and I don't know whether he'll talk a little bit about that at the start, but also in this very important and hard problem of peacekeeping. And so it's really an honor to have you with us today, Tarig. So Chief AI Officer at Akord, but also with a financial company called, is it Moja?
Moja.
Moja,
correct,
yeah, perfect. And even if you weren't going to talk about that, I'd love for you to just say 5 minutes about it as well. So let's welcome Tarig to the stage, and we're looking forward to the talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, great. My name is Tarig, and I am AI Innovation Lead at Conflict Dynamics International. Conflict Dynamics International is an organization committed to resolving violent conflict around the world. It's had 20 years experience working in Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Syria, and Nigeria. Very specifically, we offer support to civil leaders, peace builders, who are participating in negotiations and mediation efforts. So we offer them training, facilitation, and research capabilities. We work with civil society organizations, women's groups, youth groups, political parties, and traditional leaders. And we prepare them to participate in these processes. Essentially, we help them to answer 2 questions. What kind of political process will bring about peace? And what kind of governance will keep the peace? Then we help them think about how to make those processes and those governance arrangements happen. Now, the underlying philosophy is really simple. The idea is that if you have an inclusive political process, inclusive political arrangements, you are more likely to have a durable peace, a peace that will last. In conflict, what often happens in practice is that the protagonists of the conflict, the men holding the guns, end up at the table, and everyone else ends up excluded. So Conflict Dynamics, our goal is to expand the number of people involved in political processes and develop governance arrangements that assist them to be inclusive. And just to give you a concrete example, we are working in Sudan at the moment, and we have a civil society activist, a young lady invited from Darfur to participate in the Addis Ababa negotiations between the government and the rebels. Now, she turns up, she understands her issues viscerally, deeply, but she lacks specialist knowledge, technical expertise, drafting skills, research capability, and the creative space, and so comes to the situation at a severe disadvantage. Enter Akord AI. Your co-pilot for peace. Akord AI has 6 key features designed to enable creativity, research, drafting, and access to peace-building expertise. The first of these are AI-powered peace-building insights. Essentially, you can ask questions around peace-building, and it's a customized, trained AI, trained on the principles of independence, impartiality, and neutrality. The second is a Web 2 technology, an old-fashioned digital archive. It's crazy to think this, but in Sudan, there are negotiations at the moment on the future constitution. Sudan has had 7 constitutions. Not a single civil society activist has access to those constitutions. They're all held behind firewalls at Stanford, Durham, Essex University, Exeter University. The third are automated citations, a minor and critical feature. To ensure verifiability and to originate the data, we have citations according to Chicago style in answer to all the questions. The fourth is specialized tools and frameworks. Conflict Dynamics International has developed a set of tools and frameworks that The fifth is the capacity to import and export documents. 6th is multilingual support. The Akord AI is available in Arabic and English. And to be clear, this is just the beginning. In addition to growing the breadth and depth of the data lake and the peacebuilding library, we will, over the next 18 months, expand to cover conflict zones around the world, including Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, and Syria. Our product roadmap includes voice functionality, multimedia responses, different interfaces, multiple new languages, a WhatsApp integration, and predictive analytics, and collaborative tools. But there are constraints, and I think building Akord AI has really exposed the constraints of AI as a technology. The first is adoption barriers. We're used to using artificial intelligence. People in conflict-affected zones simply aren't. And there's a barrier to use because of interface. It tends to be text-based. The second is data. In conflict-affected countries, institutions collapse, and data becomes a constraint. And the third and most profound is the nature of war itself, which is a reflection of human nature. War is not caused by a lack of intelligence. War is caused by fear, greed, wrath, ambition, glory, love, and hate. And so it follows that intelligence is only part of the answer, and probably only a small part. AI will, in its design and use, reflect the purpose and character and wants of its maker, of us as humans, and so will inevitably enhance our capacity for war, as it is in Gaza, Lebanon, and Ukraine, and for peace, as we plan to use it in Sudan and eventually around the globe. We are, as we speak, collectively training artificial intelligence, and it will no doubt reflect our capacity for war and peace, for good and evil. The hope, the faith, is that we are more good than evil, more peaceful than warlike, and that the purpose of human life is to seek peace, not war. And so with luck and effort, AI will, on balance, serve the better angels of our nature. But it's not going to happen on its own. We need to make it so. On the ledger of war and peace, we're currently heavily invested in war. We need to rebalance that. Akord AI is part of that effort to rebalance. Our vision is that in time we will grow and expand and contribute to an AI ecosystem designed to resolve conflict so that the eternal debate on human nature is resolved in favor of peace and prosperity.
Thank you for that talk and beautiful speech at the end. I think we can take one or two questions from the crowd. I have one after. Yeah, perfect.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Thank you for that. That was really powerful and moving as well, and congratulations on the product. Just to add some color to this, could you provide an instance or an example of where it's been used and what that looked like for you in application in
Good question.
Sudan?
We are currently in beta, so we have around 100 users, and we're currently being used in the negotiations in Sudan. Case study from last week, there's conversations around a ceasefire agreement. Ceasefire agreement needs to be put into writing. There are standard protocols, standard formats. Users of Akord AI can access those formats through the archive, but more importantly, they can ask Akord AI to help them draft their documents according to best practice. So, for example, in Sudan, one of the most popular ceasefire, one of the most cited ceasefire agreements is the Nuba Mountain ceasefire agreement of 2003. That's in the archive. You can use that as a reference, and you can write a ceasefire agreement based on that model.
So one question. I mean, I think the thing I found a lot of this astonishing in different ways, but it was that piece of information that people at the peace negotiation tables just didn't even have access, not to, secretive government files, but actually literally the constitutions themselves. How did that come about?
It's crazy. Some of this information is available scattered in different parts of the internet, but the actual Sudanese constitutions literally aren't available even in public. You have to sign up to Stanford University to have access them. It came out just, we were working on a constitutional clause, an article, and someone mentioned that in 1956 the Sudanese constitution had a similar article included in it, and no one was able to access that data. They just knew it out of memory, historical memory, but the information wasn't there.
Wow, yeah. So that the traditional journal firewalls were just being applied. Yeah, that's. And I think what's interesting, what I've seen today and before, is like a lot of the potential that Akord AI has is going to grow as we overcome some of the limitations that are currently facing AI technology. So you talked about retrieving a citation, and so at the moment, LLM-based technologies have problems with hallucinating citations, and Perplexity AI has done a lot of work in actually retrieving, veridical information. And then there's also this case in which we really don't want it to be spreading misinformation. We want it to be empowering these parties with as truthful a data as it can. So I see, you're in beta mode at the moment, but I see with algorithmic advances on these current failure modes, this just getting more and more a stronger and stronger help to these parties.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why we insisted on a curated data archive. So we're using OpenAI as our underlying technology, but the AI itself is trained on Akord AI's data lake. And every answer you get is referenced, and you can click through to the original source.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Tarig. Let's all give him a big round of applause. Nice one, man. Nice one.